Bula. Thank you. Okay, welcome to this session here. Before I start with our presentation, I must sincerely, as a customary for us back home in Fiji, we must acknowledge and pay our deepest respect to the ancestors of this land and its traditional landowners on whose land we are on this morning. We need to pay tribute to that as per our custom back at home. Additionally, we would like to acknowledge the Vice Chancellor of this university for allowing us this morning to present together with our team from EU and our members, colleagues from USP and US. On behalf of our FNU Vice Chancellor and the SLT team, I'm happy to be here on this occasion to be part of this presentation, and I'd like to introduce my colleague who just joined us yesterday, just flew in from Fiji yesterday, Ms. Timaima Radule. Thank you. Okay. So our topic for today presentation is women empowerment in the Pacific. Okay. Before I'd like to introduce the members of this team here. Our project leader for FNU is our Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Timaima Lako. Our academic and project contributors, that's Ms. Timaima and myself. The project coordinators are Aklesh, who are all based in Suva, and Archana, and also our media creator. The reason why I've got our media creator here is because I'd like to share a small clip that has been done on women empowerment in the Pacific. Okay. Slide 3. So this is the content of my presentation, together with the EU Agri-Tour educational materials. That's part of the presentation that I'm going to do today. And also, I will be talking, I'll be traversing in and out on the women empowerment, and hopefully, if I'm correct, some of the educational materials as an example of what we are going to do once this proposal is through. In actual fact, the proposal or our presentation is based on Friends Fiji. Friends Fiji is an acronym that stands for Foundation for Rural Integrated Enterprises and Development. This is an NGO that is based in Fiji. I'll be talking more on that later on. But I would like to also share why I'm introducing FNU in this session here. I'm not too sure how many of you know the structure of FNU. I think, if I'm not mistaken, FNU has a similar structure to the National University of Vanuatu, and also with Samoa as well. Although we were established in 2010, for most of us, for most part, it may sound like a very young university, but in actual fact, if you look at the history, if you do a deep dive in FNU, some of the colleges have a long history. I think one of the longest serving colleges in the university is the School of Medicine and Health Science. They have over 100 years. They have been in existence for 100 years. We also have the college the College of Business, Hospitality and Tourism Studies, where I belong. I'm the Associate Dean Tibet for that college. Now, that college has 5 schools, which has management, accounting, economics, School of Hospitality and Tourism, and also the School of Hospitality and Tourism is a very TVET, what do you call this, heavy in terms of practical, okay? So keeping that in mind, agro-tourism is not it has been in existence in Fiji, but it is very, it was operated very independently, okay? It was not like a combined, like what the EU team has done, trying to get the agro-tourism recognized. That is why those of you who were present here yesterday, I did mention about the farming concept with the younger generation. And I also mentioned that the younger generation seem to shy away from agriculture. But lo and behold, there's a huge impact that agriculture has on a developing nation, especially like Fiji. So with that, our Ministry of Agriculture has started a project in February of this year, this year, where we are linking all the farmers, okay? And that is the similar concept that Friends has. And I believe on Monday, we visited Rejuvenate Vanua. Now, it is a very similar concept, but Friends is on a much larger scale. What Friends has done is incorporating a lot of the local farmers around the Western Division. With that, keeping that in mind, a lot of the farmers in those areas, majority of them are women who facilitate the raw products from the farm to Friends, where they do a lot of processing, and at the end they sell some of these products. I'll be talking more on that as we go. I'll ask Madam Ima if she would like to take us through with this one.
Thank you. So good to see so many young people in the room today, especially with respect to the topic that we are covering. Just with regards to the Fiji Agritourism program that has been rolled out in February this year, there were two main challenges that the ministry or the government had realized through the years, and one is the availability of fresh quality produce, as well as the seasonality of things. So, and interestingly, out of the 2025, the Ministry of Agriculture normally has a Women in Agriculture program every year. It was out of the 2025 program that the Women in Agriculture, they came up with their proposal or the issues that they're facing, not only in the so-called urban areas, but more so in the remote islands in Fiji, with respect to how they can process or add value to certain primary products that they have. So, and that was part of what was also integrated into the Fiji Agritourism program. And currently, it is in its pilot stage, where I think it's a Sheraton group of hotels, together with in Danarau as well. So what they're doing is they have brought in these just put it on silent. what they're doing is they've identified certain farmers who have, who have been producing certain products that can feed the hotels, and with certain criteria, the locality, because they're thinking of the economics as well as the weather and all the different components of this particular program, together with the supply. So I think they are hoping, not I think, I do believe that they are hoping that within the next 5 years they would be able to replicate this right across Fiji. Having a steady supply of fresh produce. And for the Sheraton, they are hoping that they will supply all the spices for these hotels. So again, in here, so these women-led enterprises, as my colleague Eric has said, most of these enterprises in Fiji, whether it's semi-urban or in the rural, it's usually the women are usually in the front driving these things. And this is an example. This lady, she lives out in the islands. It's about, I don't know, maybe a day by boat. And she's been producing and supplying coconut oil and dilo oil. Dilo, that's the scientific name for dilo. And dilo is one of the base ingredients, maybe not so much for food, but Pure Fiji, I'm sure most of you have heard of Pure Fiji. This is one of their baseline ingredients for most of their products. So with the, I must confess here that I got pulled into this project just a few weeks ago. But with other projects that I'm involved with, that is what we're bringing in here. So as I talked with Dr. Eve at the back there, giving my advance apology for that, as well as for you all. Nevertheless, what we see is a huge potential for the integration of agriculture and tourism, particularly for women and for those out in the rural areas, because there's so many natural products that are there, but it's all going to waste. One of the other projects that I'm currently involved in, I would be in that other training if I wasn't here, is looking at food loss. There's a lot of loss in the supply chain. So there's this other project that we are currently working with, and currently that is a community workshop that we are doing with this particular village, doing Train the Trainers program, looking at specifically bananas. You go to these areas where they have a lot of banana trees, they'll have a lot of bananas, and bananas, if you don't look after it properly, well, out there in the bush, once you get it down, this decomposition start happening, and there's a lot of waste. So that other project, looking at food loss, they're currently looking at 5 different commodities. One is, how to turn ice cream out of bananas, how you can do your fertilizers, both compost and liquid fertilizer. These other things where you just need a chopping board and your knife, and very simple like a dryer. Here there's a lot of sun, so these are the ideas that we have with regards to the education materials that we are hoping to integrate and offer as FNU's contribution to the project. So the possible training materials that we have, what you have in there, food security and circular bioeconomic, and as my colleague had said, when we visited FRIEND, they were doing that, bioeconomic tourism, where there's hardly any waste. They're trying as much as possible to have zero waste, including having organic farms where they just using the compost system, and also with respect to the other things like food security, not only food security, but also nutrition security. That is something that we are looking at as well, nutrition security as well, not just food. Yes, that is what we are hoping to do, get, and work with our other team members for the project, looking at practical guides for agritourism, the practicality of it for women out in rural areas where, you don't get good connectivity, even though they have Elon Musk's, what do you call that, satellite system that he has, has made it quite possible for a lot of our Pacific Islanders to get connectivity, but nevertheless, we still have certain issues. Traditional knowledge learning resources, this is something that our office is also looking at, particularly for indigenous foods. There is not a lot of, not that I know of, research into traditional, indigenous foods. And personally for me, the issue is, my worry is if the indigenous knowledge goes, out goes your genetic resources. And once your genetic erosion occurs, you can't get it back. So I think that is, so traditional knowledge and indigenous knowledge of our foods, that is something that we feel is very critical as well. And for that, there's another project that I'm involved with that we're going to be looking at that, looking at the bioactivity of nutrients as well and all the scientific aspects of it. And as well as case studies that can be, the peer learning that we can have as possible training topics and manuals and resources that we can, replicate first in Fiji, and if, I'm sure it will be, can be calibrated here in Vanuatu and right across Melanesia and in the Pacific as well, because of the similarity of our biogeography as well as our social connotations to food and agritourism, because this, I believe, is one of the things that tourists do. They come and want to see, how we integrate our indigenous food system. And when we talk indigenous food systems, it's not just the foods, it's your whole ecosystem together with your customary, the aspects tagged to the foods, the traditional relationships. All these, I believe, has to have an intergenerational passing onwards of the knowledge, because that is how we can secure and be able to conserve these foods, which in most cases some haven't been scientifically researched and would certainly have high nutritional values, apart from other values for certain, medicinal values or nutraceutical values. Yeah, I'll stop there for a while.
Thank you, Tima. Just to add on to her comments about the Sheraton. For most part, if you know the location of some of these resorts, high-end resorts on the western side of Fiji, that's where the Sheraton is. Now, having said that, it just dawned on me, there's an island resort just outside of the main island of Vitilevu, which is called Benga. And on that island, there is a resort that's called Daku Resort. Daku Resort is a self-sustaining resort as well. They don't use, generators, mechanical generators. Most of their energy comes from the solar. Also, they started to harvest rainwater for their, for their water and their daily use. And they've also started to tap into the spring that is right next to them. They started to harvest that as well. Not only that, they've also worked with the nearby communities. For example, if let's say if you're going to work at Daku Resort, though you are getting paid to be working at Daku Resort, but at the same time, what management has done, because you are taken away from what you're supposed to be doing out in the plantation, they have worked together with the members of the community to have their own backyard farming as well. So when the employees knock off work, though they are getting paid, the management doesn't want to see them going to the shop, to the nearby shop, to buy these 2-minute noodles, and what else? Canned tuna. They encourage the workers to to plant, help the business to plant, do backyard farming. So when they finish work, they can also take, let's say if they're planting cassava or ndalo, they can take that with them home for their family use. Okay, so those are some of the things that they have, Daku Resort has come up with. Now, she also mentioned about the traditional knowledge about food, and she also mentioned about medicine. Surprisingly, since I came here on Sunday, so whole day Monday, yesterday and Monday, I was really flat out. Came down with a very bad case of flu, and to the extent I had a bleeding nose. But keeping that aside, I must thank and I must acknowledge Gerald, who's from Vanuatu. He found out that I was sick, so he went and got some lemon and ginger. So I took that lemon and ginger, made a lemon and ginger tea last night. And I had the same thing again this morning. Now I am up and ready, and hopefully, like Madam Leslie has said, we'll do some rap dancing, but we'll wait and see. Next slide, please. Now, we were talking about friends, as I mentioned. Now, you can see the geographical location between Fiji and Vanuatu. Now, step it again. Okay. Now, there's a short video that I would like to share at this point in time. Now, before we go to that video, this thing with friends, like I've mentioned, it was originally started by a lady who is now the minister, assistant minister for women and children and poverty alleviation. So she's now in government, but she was this lady. Her name is Sashi Kiran. These friends started in 2001. Okay. She, in the course of that this video that you'll see, what they have done and how they have incorporated this and turned it into a huge project where a lot of the local communities are involved. Okay, so I will ask Madam Leslie if she can play the video.
That's it.
18 minutes.
I've got my phone there. Thanks.
This Agri-Tour project is facilitated through the International Office of the Office of Learning and Teaching. The project is an exciting one, mainly because we are developing an agri-tourism micro-credential curriculum with 7 other universities partners. Now there will be 4 within the Pacific region and 4 others from the European Union. This agri-tourism is a new concept where we are actually integrating agriculture with tourism. It's new because FNU has a separate agriculture curriculum that is taught at the College of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, while the hospitality and tourism curriculum is also taught separately at the College of Business, Hospitality and Tourism Studies. Now this new agri-tourism micro-credential curriculum basically integrates these 2 sectors together through the revival of the traditional food culture and also the traditional food systems and activities to the tourism industry. FNU wishes to acknowledge the efforts and the financial assistance from the European Union.
Across Fiji's rural landscapes, life begins with land. Follow the mountains. There is soil. There is seed. There is memory. Food, culture, and livelihood are not separate here. They are one living system. At the center of this system are women, farmers, caregivers, knowledge keepers. The quiet strength behind every harvest, every meal, every household. Here, sustainability is not a policy. It is a way of life. At the heart of this system is Friend Fiji, a women-led organization built on a simple idea.
So the organization actually was founded by none other than the current Minister for Women and Children, Ms. Honorable Sisikiran, and it was registered in 2001. And it started off with making of products. So community development and the actual activities that we are currently doing, it started way back after 5 years of the organization being registered. At that time she was a journalist based in Suva, and when she was going out into the communities, she found out that there were a lot of traditional crops, fruits that were wasted during season. When mangoes are in season, tamarind are in season, it was wasted. It just fell because the communities, they actually don't have the skills or knowledge, or there was no linkage to the market. So she came back and she started trialing. I think the first product was tamarind chutney. So she started off with tamarind chutney. She employed few volunteers that came and worked with her. She was working under an organization, and on the side she was running the business. So whatever salary she gets from working, she paid off the volunteers when she actually started the organization.
When women are empowered, communities are transformed.
Most of the products, not really most, nearly all of the products that we develop and we sell through Motibai comes from farmers. So we have farmers all the way from here to Tailebu, we focus on the Western Division, Outer Islands, as well as the Central Division. So whoever can supply us the raw material, we are willing to buy it.
Here, the green economy is not theory, it is practice. What begins in the soil does not end there. Women are transforming crops into opportunity. Chutneys, pickles, flowers, products that carry both value and identity.
Currently, we have ranges of products. We have different flowers, gluten-free flowers. We have different types of pickles. We have different types of chutneys. We have the honey, we have virgin coconut oil, we have desiccated coconut, we have some of the crafts as well that we sell, like the key tags, and we have recycled paper, mixing it with some of the leaves around the compound and the recycled paper from the office. So we make recycled paper out of it. We run it through the machine. That recycled paper I use for placement. When we go up in the restaurant, you can see that as well. And we have ranges of herbal teas as well. We have powders, different types of powders. We have like neem powder, cocoa leaf powder, moringa powder. So all those are different products. So if we count all the different products we have, it comes to 54. And I think in the premises at the moment we use very different varieties. And for lemongrass as well, we have different varieties of lemongrass as well that we can use for teas. We have, mainly you can see we have different types of eggplants as well, the long eggplants, purple eggplant that used for choka, and we have the round eggplants, we have different types of belly, like we have the green belly and we have the red stem types of belly. Yeah. So for popo, we have Hawaiian popo and we have the normal popo. So all that we can use as well. Some of the products we have organically certified. Friend also does certification, but through PGS, Participating Guarantee System. So we have some certified groups or PGS group. So for organic products, we only buy from those groups unless there's another group who wants to come in and do organic. Then we normally have to go and do some sort of awareness and then all the steps and processes in order for their farms to be certified. Then we can start buying from them.
Through training, through knowledge, through enterprise, they are building more than income. They are building independence.
Natago Julian Dinamra, and Bakilima Kalima, Wakawati Naraya. Ito tigutan na kali organic farming na 2016. Tulong mo ito na ang panangko na Naraya, atau may takabunan ito sib-sib, ito may betulay kaya, kasarangayan ako no, ito sa tikling may takatakapatak. Kung ganangaw na, kaya may bahay dito ko na may bulan ni matagubal na kaya na ito wala ko naman tete, kaya may bilis may kaya sa masuti sa ni binaka. Kaya naman na kaya may meron ko tinurot ito mga matala, malala na lang kaya may ito ko liya na karto may boleh na bagaimana kaya napakalatak na bekay o tikib-kibon. Kung ganun ito makatang na lagi maminista na yan, nakakata ka mga kasili. Nakinabubuhay na ka na isiti, nakanaka ni kakana. Iliw pero natakasya na daw ito ko na nakiyanra, pero sa ngayon makanataka na bimatakalun ni matip kang masaka na takatulungan mo. Kaya ito ko na nga napakamisa may ramos singat ko na kanungon. Nakina may makangatak ko na ngomong ko na wani makenta puli yamay. Mentana nung okay ta mina buke kenda yanta. Gare ta kamalo. Ni wani matin ito ta sa sarang ito na bibu ke kau tengah bikin dan ada. Na organic farming kau tengah bikin dan nanti kau bulan-bulan. Bulan-bulan nanti napanood ang tilipakan dahil naman ko nakakane sa ganibokan nakakane tiba kaya naman mo kawal mataki naman kawal mataki dahil naman ko nakakaka nakakatinda dapat natakalungan ninda dahil na mo ninda ni bokan ni kakana kin naman man ya nakaupo ni mate e baka nataki na tete ya ito wabi na nakakabalik na bulit to may takamoto na kani okay ni farming ni to paguli na bikima na tebe turmati. Eliu kaya mga takakati ko may yakin nila na yan ang unang ko kaya sa takamana karto ito ko na may beso ko makibinaktan na ito nakakanan raw na tsahin na bundi na din na sila na kaya na binata and sa nga tali niyo na nitala ko ikiyan kaya ko tumay kaya ko talaka kaya ko yung mga kono tete nasanay na nilang bulang-bulang na ako na itete nasama rin sa kanil talay ikaw tanga may ko kau tamay ko lanto ka tingwan ako naman kaya nakinabi na ka na tete.
Climate pressure is no longer distant. It is here, and still women respond.
For the premises, we haven't been using any chemical at all. So because we run a restaurant and we also have a food production facility, so all the peelings that we get from the food production facility, all the waste from there, it goes back into a compost. Around the compound, you can see there's green bins around the compound. On the side of the gardens, so those bins are compost bins. So all the waste goes back into the bins. And for for tukuni, so in tukuni, because it's also food waste, so we normally have a few buckets. So for bones, we put it in different buckets, and for paper, we put it in a different bin, and for other waste, we put in a different bin. Whatever needs to go back into the compost will go back into the compost. And we save a lot of seafoods. So for example, if we're serving fish or octopus, so when we grill the fish, all the scales, all the guts and everything, it goes back into our pest management or manures. So we normally put it in a drum and we leave it to ferment for a while, and then we use it back into the farm as a source of fertilizer. And as well for bones and for, what I can say, for the eggshells, those ones we can dry it out, and once it's dry, then we normally grind it or pound it. It turns back into powder. It's like a fish meal, and we use it back into the farm for manure. And that's So we normally say zero waste. We normally compost everything back from the restaurant, and so basically most of the manures or the inputs we use on the farm are just from the waste from the two production facility, either the restaurant or the production facility. Okay. And we make a lot of trials as well. So we use the normal fruit trees or some aromatic plants we have. For example, we have lemongrass, we have tamale. So what we do when we actually do farming, we actually plant all the aromatic plants around the farm, or we integrate it with other crops on the farm. So it reduces the pest for attacking the plants or the crops in the farm. Or we normally do some mixture, like for example moringa. We normally just harvest some moringa leaves. We dip it in a bucket of water or a big drum, and then we normally leave it for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then we use the water or the solution from there to just spray on the farm. So we have one big tank. At the back of this tank, I think they just empty it. It's down there. So in the tank, we put all the leaves, the lemongrass leaves, pawpaw leaves, custard apple leaves, moringa leaves. You just put it inside, and after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we normally just take out the water from there, and we spray it 3 times in a week. So either Monday, pest management as well. So Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays we normally spray around the compound. There's some mix that we need to mix it with water. For example, when we do for weedicides, because we don't use any chemical, so we can do coconut oil with water. We mix it with water, and then we spray early in the morning before the sun comes up. And then when the sun comes up, all the grass, like very, very big grass. So sometimes when you come, when it's very dry, you'll see we have overgrown grass. We don't cut grass when it's dry season, because the grass has advantage and disadvantage. Only when it's rainy season, then you'll see we will start cutting the grass. Because the grass as well, they keep the soil moist and they hold the soil. So when it's dry season, you'll see we have overgrown grass. Most of the people, they normally come and they say, "Oh, your place looks so nice, but you have a lot of grown grasses." But we normally explain to them the reason behind those grown grasses. So we will just trialing it out as alternatives to the current pesticides. Weedicides we have. It works. We have organic simplified manual that we have, that it has all the different inputs for organic farm practices. So it was launched, I think, way back in 2017. It was launched in Holiday in Mitsua. So these are documents we normally distribute around to farmers. It has all the different ingredients, the different mixture that they can do while practicing organic farming on the farm.
Protecting not just crops, but the future. This is the Green Deal in action, where the economy is local, where the environment is protected, where culture is preserved, where communities are empowered. As income grows, so does voice. Women step forward as leaders, as decision makers, as agents of change. This is no longer just farming, and it is not just tourism. It is a living system of resilience, built by women who know the land, shared with those who come to learn, from farm to fork and far beyond.
Oh, amen.
Okay, off. Okay, this thing doesn't seem to. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed that little clip. That's on Friends in Fiji. If you want to know where Friends is, if you know where Nandi, Lotoka is, Friends is just further up north, about 15 minutes drive up north. Okay, so that's all the things that is happening in Friends. And I've mentioned about Daku. Daku Resort has a similar concept as well. And you would have noticed she used a lot of these traditional terms. Now, a lot of that information has, in the past, started to fade. It seemed to have lost in time, but now Friends has started to regenerate or relook into those traditional concepts. And you'll also note in Friends, they do not use chemicals, manufactured chemicals, because it has a huge, huge impact on the land. You will also note they've started to use traditional form of pesticide or pest management. Okay, basically it's just coconut oil, water, and a few other things. Okay, it also helps to rejuvenate the soil as well. Okay. I think I will let my colleague take us on this one.
Yes, so at the beginning of the presentation, Eric had mentioned the structure of FNU, and that within FNU you've got colleges like the College of Business, Hospitality and Tourism. We also have the College of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry. And so with the, within the institution itself, all these colleges will be, I'm sure, looking forward to integrate all this and do cross-disciplinary, cross-college work, if they haven't been doing it at the moment. Nevertheless, so for traditional food safety and standards, I believe it is in the hour-long video where Friend itself, they have they have specified on the walls, they have it on the wall, the food safety and food handling instructions for all their workers, apart from the proper attire going into the processing unit. So that is something that we would need to incorporate if we're taking this out into the rural areas. We do know how to prepare traditional and indigenous dishes, but it is the food safety, food handling of a HACCP bit that we will need to clarify and very strongly adhere to, so we don't get any food poisoning for our tourists. I believe we had a case, if I remember correctly, sometime last year. There was a food poisoning case back home. I can't remember which of the hotels. So nevertheless, for the training manuals, that would be also something that is going to be critical there, apart from, climate, we've got it down here, climate smart agriculture. I'm not too sure about the other countries in the region. I am very familiar with Fiji, where there was another project, an EU project that I was involved with from 2024 until last year, looking at climate change and its effect, especially on coastal areas, where there's been a lot of inundation of garden farms in the, villages back home, actually from my province. So there has to be, we were working very closely with them, together with the College of Agriculture and Forestry and Fisheries, in the shifts in the traditional farming methods, so that they can still, farm what they love to farm, but in some cases they have to shift the kind of, agricultural species that they are having as in their farms. So all the shifts, which is included in, being climate resilient and climate smart agriculture, are things that that women, well, apart from men, have to have in mind for this farm to fork process for integrating agriculture and tourism. Well, these here are just some of the what we had proposed as what we can have in the women-led agribusinesses. Some of these are actually being practiced back home, together with the different, within the various ministries, government ministries that are responsible for these different areas. And, but they're, like what we had mentioned earlier, for the Fiji Agri-Tourism program, there's going to be more in depth and, work on these things. So yeah, basically these are some of the, which integrates not only agriculture, tourism, but of course business. And yeah, that's it for now.
Thank you, Tima. If you look at the points that is highlighted here, and if you'll note what Tima has said about cross collaboration amongst the colleges. So if you look at the training manual, for example, we'll be working closely with the College of Humanities and Education. Okay, these are the college that teaches future teachers, high school, primary school teachers. Okay, they also have law. Also, if you look at the second point about booklets, okay, we'll be working closely with IT and also with videos. And I did mention about Andy Eleanor. Okay, she's with our marketing department. So you can see it's a very integrated, cross-disciplinary exercise with the institution. Okay.
Sorry. I think before we move on, just something that I believe we also have to be mindful of, especially when it comes to the indigenous knowledge and indigenous food systems and how we integrate this. The benefit sharing bit, I think this is more into the legal aspects of it, traditional knowledge, indigenous knowledge. So just something to think about when it comes to these things. With respect to the specificity of the products that you would have in the different remote areas that women and men. That is something that we are thinking about for another project that is going to start soon, dealing specifically with indigenous foods and indigenous food systems. So I thought I'd just bring that up for agriculture in this case. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a continuation from what Tima has mentioned. Okay, in part of this training to create awareness amongst the communities, these are some of the things that will be incorporated in the training manual, like workshop guides, where women in food processing, decision making, and local governance. And if you look at the other one, participatory decision guides, where shared household financial planning. That bit comes from our college, where we have the School of Accounting that will also be participating in this. Traditional knowledge documentation, women's role in traditional food security and family well-being. Okay, and also role model profiles, local women leaders from remote islands. And I think Friends is a very classic example of this. And just to continue from the previous slide, looking at tourism enterprise toolkit. This is where the School of Hospitality will come in, working together with the College of Humanities in compiling some of the teaching and learning materials that's going to be incorporated in this toolkit. Training modules. I'm not too sure how this works in the Pacific or in other Pacific Island countries, but for FNU, when we talk about modules, these are what we refer to as short courses. I don't know how the interpretation is with the others, but for us, when we're talking about training modules, we have a separate section of the university that's called National Productivity Training Center. These are the section that deals with short course training. And part of the FNU's mandate is to ensure that a lot of these short courses are compiled or sort of, I can't remember the academic term for it, where the credentials, they recognize these short credentials, and they lead to what we call the awards program. Like, for example, if you do a lot of hospitality courses, short courses, you can combine them together, stack them together, and you can cross-credit that to the awards program, where, for example, if it's diploma in culinary arts or diploma in hotel management. So these short courses can be cross-credited. Okay? That is the mandate of the university moving forward. We talked about the audio-visual demonstration in part of most of the toolkits, because for me, I teach hospitality tourism back at home. Part of the package that I give to the students is audio-visual. Like, for example, let's take this presentation, for example. If this is my presentation, I will convert this into a video, okay? And that is given to the students. For me personally, I think on a TVET, from a TVET perspective. For us, what I have realized over the years, for most of the young people that are coming to school, they are very visual. They can relate visually. And, you know, to grab their attention, that is why you'll see a lot of this, our presentation is very artistic, very visual. And you'll have a lot of these video clips that is associated with the topic of discussion. That's all embedded in that toolkit. So if you let's say, enroll into one of our programs, throughout the whole semester, this is what you'll get, from week 1 right up to week 15, whatever the training duration is. So each week you'll have your teaching and learning materials, okay? Would you like to take us through this?
Yeah, so in this one, we're just thinking of inclusivity, just making sure that everybody in the community is involved. As Eric said, you know, initially, because I'm currently not teaching. I used to teach before, but it was higher education. I used to be with USP biology. So, but with the TVET bit, as well as the community development, the issue of inclusivity for something so practical and so doable and very useful and quite relevant for our communities, getting everybody involved. You know, I know for us in the Pacific, when you see somebody who is, you know, maybe physically handicapped, that's it for that person. Yeah? But we don't know. That person could be involved in part of the supply chain of how things are done, and getting, So this is us having the educational materials and having everybody in mind. So yeah, just basically that. Thank you. Just back to something that Eric had mentioned about the courses, the short courses. There was that other EU project that I was involved with. We were looking at climate change and its effect on the coastal vulnerabilities. And when we brought in the stakeholders for the learning materials, one thing that, there were a couple of things that, a lot of things that they raised, but one thing that they raised, and I am sure it's also could be the case here in Vanuatu and across the Pacific, is how everybody's talking about, the Green Deal, reducing fossil fuel, so we're going solar, but one of the things that we see back home in the villages, everybody's getting their panels and the setup, and after a few, I don't know how long, everything disintegrates. So for one of the micro-credentials we developed for that was training women and youth on how to maintain the setup, so that in this case the women in the villages can use the solar dryers for their desiccated coconut or whatever it is that they're doing for value adding to the products that they have. So, yep, this is our proposal for what our leadership looks like in the region, looking at women as local coordinators. As I have said, if Vanuatu is something like Fiji, most of the women in the villages are drivers, and the continuity and consistency of doing the same thing every day to get results. So women as local coordinators of the setup, whether it is a small food processor or one of the gardens or whatever it is, setting up community cooperatives, youth mentorship. Sometimes in the villages back home we have some youths who are just floating about, and that is something that some of the setups back home currently, because of the mandate from the government for our national development plan, there is I think the 2018 to 2030 national development plan, planting indigenous fruit tree species and indigenous forest tree species. So the youths are very involved in that. And in the case of agritourism, like what that lady was talking about in Fijian, the intercropping and, biodiversity in the case of what we're looking at in here, where, our final target is the food, but having biodiversity and having a good ecological system improves the whole system as a whole. And resilience and adaptation, as I've said, climate change is a fact of life if not for others, but for coastal communities, and the need to shift and how to adapt it to be resilient in whatever comes our way.
Okay, with this one, it's going to be a pretty tricky discussion with this one. There is a short picture that is linked to this portion that's highlighted in blue. Okay, no, it's okay. Now, this clip was taken with our Fiji team, the chefs team, that's going to compete out internationally. I think they were going up to Germany somewhere to go and compete in this culinary arts festival or this gastronomy festival. Now, I want you to have a look at this picture.
Fiji team.
And this is the Fiji team going. I want you to have a look at this picture and tell me what is wrong with this picture. Keep in mind, we are sending a team, a Fijian team,
Team from Fiji.
a team from Fiji, going to compete at international level, and this is what they are taking. Now, I want you to have a look at that and tell me what is wrong with that picture.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
there is Fijian in it, believe me, there is Fijian in it, but they have taken that concept and applied the Western influence to it. But I want you to tell me what is wrong with that picture. Anyone? Anyone?
I'll be the runner.
No, I love the presentation, to be honest. I love the presentation.
The portion does not reflect the
Portion, okay, yeah. Okay, let me point. What is this? What is that?
Vanuatu beef.
No.
Yeah,
The one
exactly.
that's this long thingy here. I'm not gonna give the name, but. Sorry?
No, you said it. You had said it. You had said it.
Yes? What did you say? Asparagus. My question is that a local ingredient? Does asparagus grow here? Imported. That's an imported stuff. That is, and I mentioned this to our head of school. What we need to do is take our traditional ingredients. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, asparagus, it's one of our most healthiest food. That's understood. But if we are going to represent a nation, then I think we need to be very mindful on what we put on the plate, because that tells a lot of story. There's a lot of story behind it. I come from a, my background is in culinary arts. And that is one of the first things I pointed out. Why are we going to represent a country and we are having that? To me, that does not make sense. Now, keeping that in mind, I would also like to share I'd also like to share an incident that happened about, 15 years ago? Before the merger. Now, this is from my personal experience. I had a go at the governor of the Reserve Bank. I called him out. Now, he made a statement on TV, and it just so happened I used a lot of, when I went on TV, or I called by phone, I used a fairly colorful language, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, the governor of the Reserve Bank, and this was his words, because Fiji, the government had identified that we were importing a lot of produce, like carrots, all this, celery, capsicum. And the importation bill was very high. Now, the governor of the Reserve Bank sits there and says that the chefs of the hotel industry are the biggest culprit. Now, that really ticked me off. So I told him, so I quickly, dialed up the number that was on the screen. So I was online over the phone, and I said to him, how can you sit there and tell us, and tell the people that we are the cause of this? First of all, you need to talk. I told the governor, you need to talk to the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Agriculture. Because our seasonal fruits sometimes can be very, inconsistent.
Seasonal.
Okay, our seasonal fruits can be very inconsistent. When it's in season, so I said, for example, tomatoes. When it's in season, it's nice, organic, bright, and it's full. When it's out of season, I don't know whether I should say this. I used a bit of a colorful language about the tomatoes that's not in season. Then the TV quickly cut me off because I was really getting agitated. Because that is not our problem. That is the Ministry of Agriculture. That's their problem. They need to sort that out. I said, that's one. Secondly, if you look at most of the hotel industries back in Fiji, a lot of the chefs that come to the hotels, a lot of these are expatriate chefs. So when they come to Fiji and work in the top hotels, they bring with them what they are used to, the ingredients that they are used to. But when you ask them to substitute, to use local ingredients, they are clueless. They are clueless. So what happens? They have to turn around to the local chefs and ask them, how is this done? So what these guys do, they take that idea and they market it in such a way that it is from them. So what happens to the local chefs? They are left behind. There's another incident. This guy, I think Oliver, was it? He goes around, in the Pacific, collates, all the traditional food. But does the local chefs in the Pacific, do they get that recognition? I think Vanuatu, Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, they were part of that. So my question there is, do the local chefs, do they get recognition? That is something that I'm constantly grappling with my colleagues back at home. And I just shared with you that asparagus. Okay? So moving forward, our traditional knowledge needs to be retained. We need to revive it. And we need to train our people, our local people, to meet the international expectation. So that when guest comes to our, you can incorporate all these, little nuggets so that it helps the community. Okay? Would you like to?
Yes, so I believe that is one of the reasons why we're doing this this particular project. So that is the downstream end of what we are dealing with in here. So we are very thankful to the European Union for allowing, giving us this time and the resources to be looking at this agri-tourism, the supply chain, because now we are talking about certain other gaps and challenges that we will have to deal with. Nevertheless, so it basically goes back to the challenges of seasonality and quality. And that is what we in the Pacific, we will have to come up, we are the ones who have to earth this and do it. We've been given the resources, with all these projects and trainings, and now with the education materials that we will all be contributing to do this. Just the last bit of that previous slide, I believe that is something that we can be looking at in tandem. The current everyday ingredients that we have that we need in the markets, in the supermarkets, or from the garden to the table in whatever hotels or these eco-lodges where the tourists comes to enjoy, as well as at the same time the indigenous food systems. Not only the indigenous, when I'm talking indigenous food systems, as I've said, it's the whole ecological and social and cultural aspect of that system. So it's the habitat, everything within that where you get your food, and together with the indigenous foods. And that includes the food itself, the uniqueness of it, the preparation, if there are any preservations, all of that. As Eric said, we need to have the intergenerationality of that to be able to offer more of a variety to the tourists when they come, while at the same time have that biodiversity that we really need. That other previous slide talks about the Pacific, and particularly Melanesia having one of the highest biodiversity. It's one of the hotspots for biodiversity. In other words, we have got a high number of different species and varieties in terms of both marine and the terrestrial ecosystem. So, but if we don't appreciate it, we don't do anything about it, we lose it. Okay, so, so within that, this high hotspot biodiversity is where we get all these foods that, offer the uniqueness of our different countries and provinces and little areas and little locales to those who are coming to sample, the tourists. Yeah.
That's the last one.
Oh, okay.
No. Okay. Yeah. That's it.
All right, and so, yep, this is the last bit of our slide, our presentation. So, we just, as someone who's just got into this project a few, 2, 3, 4 weeks back, I'm seeing the real need for this, and how we can calibrate this from Fiji to here to the Pacific, and I'm sure there would be some relevant bits that we can transport across to Europe as well, while we're learning at the same time from them. Oh, if you have any questions.